Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Whatever time it is when you hear this message, I pray that you're poised to receive, to accept, and to respond to words of wisdom. Ashe. In the beginning of my work, or I should say early in my work, one of the objectives that I identified was the need to help people really take ownership of their spiritual identity. Because up till that point, people were overly identifying with orisa. That is, they believe that because I have an affinity for Oshun, I am Oshun. Or because I have an affinity for Obatala, I am Obatala myself. Or because I have an affinity for Oya, I am Oya, right? And so you start getting this kind of the Orisha zodiac phenomenon where it's like, I'm an Aquarius and this is the way I am. And I'm a Libra, and so this is the way I am. And not that, the Orisha don't have an influence on your personality and on your self-expression, but the problem is that people, like I said, they overly identify with the Orisha. They think that they are going to become Obatala or Shango or Ogun or etc., which is not the case. You are never going to become your Orisha. Your Ori is what is determining your relationship to the Orisha. So anyway, it has taken a number of years and a fair amount of education to broaden people's understanding of their spiritual identity and start to accept the importance of self-discovery, right? Really embracing their natural gifts and talents, really starting to understand that, hey, you chose something in the prenatal state, and that's what brought you here. And Orisha is here to complement that. Orisha is here to support you in that mission. You're not going to become the Orisha in the end, though. You're going to become a better and better version of you, right? And pivotal in that process has been also helping people to understand the importance of the sacred text, Odu Ifa and Oriki in particular, is because everything that is considered orthodox and legitimate and authentic in our practice comes from the sacred text. And so that's what excites me about my most recent project. My most recent project is this book, which is called Shadow Mothers. This is perspectives on witchcraft within Orisha lifestyle. It's a phenomenal contribution, I must say, humbly, but I just finished reading it. I got my copy a couple of days ago, so I've been putting in all my spare time to go through the hard copy, and it does accomplish my objective, which is to give the Western practitioner a multifaceted, indigenous perspective on Awon Iyami Osoronga. Because what has happened is very much like our understanding, previously of Orisha. There is a percentage of the population that overtly identifies with Awon Iyami Osoronga, and they identify with Awon Iyami Osoronga on a personal level, right? And so when we start to talk about the realities of Awon Iyami Osoronga, people take it personally and they have a knee-jerk reaction, and they are taking it as though when you talk about Awon Iyami Osoronga, you're talking about this person as an individual, right? It brings to mind a story. Very early in my career, I had the esteemed privilege of sitting down with two other Babalawos. There were three of us, and we were all from three different countries. And while we were talking, one of the Awos had a distorted understanding of the vastness of Ifa. There were some nuances about, the spiritual versus the religious versus the cultural versus the political versus the historical aspects of Ifa in particular that this individual, he just didn't fully understand it. So as we're talking, I took the opportunity to correct him on a couple of things. And this guy was so offended. He jumped up. We were in his house at the time. He jumped up, went into a trunk, and pulled out an AK-47 assault rifle. This is a true story. And he sat down and he just glared at me, And fortunate for me, my most sincere response to that was just total disappointment, because like I said, this is in the beginning of my career. This is before social media it was what it is now. This is before cell phones, right? This is before cell phones, or maybe not before cell phones, but I didn't have a cell phone at the time, and none of us, I think, had cell phones. And so it was a time that was still person to person. And it meant a lot to be able to sit down with colleagues and brothers and break bread, right? And build and share ideas. And so when this guy broke out the assault rifle, it was like the ultimate buzzkill, I was so disappointed. And I said as much, I was like, here we are, it's 3 hours and we're having a conversation about Ifa. And I say something that you don't like, and your response is to get an assault rifle. What kind of Babalawo is that? What kind of Ifa are you worshiping, man? And he was immediately so ashamed. His total demeanor just shifted, and he started to apologize and try to explain himself. But by then, obviously, the mood had shifted dramatically, and me and the other Awo were like, it's time to go. But the reason why I tell you that story is because a lot of times I have that kind of response. I get that kind of response from people when we talk about Awon Iyami Osoronga. People take it so personally, that they've internalized the idea that they are Awon Iyami Osoronga so deeply that they lose all objectivity, right? And so in the Shadow Mothers, though, this is a fantastic contribution to the conversation, because you're not getting opinion. You're not getting any kind of personal attack. These aren't biased accounts. There's accounts of people who were actually members of Awon Iyami Osoronga. They talk about things that they did in the name of the society. There's one woman who talks about how she was inducted into the society. There are accounts by people who were affected by Awon Iyami Osoronga. It's treated from a psychological perspective. It's treated from a theological perspective. I've got well over 20 Odu Ifa, and I mean with verses and full length stories that break down the dynamics between Awon Iyami Osoronga and the deities, Awon Iyami Osoronga and humanity, Awon Iyami Osoronga and Olodumare. It's a really comprehensive exploration of the phenomena of witchcraft in Yoruba society, and it's from a Yoruba perspective. And then I do wrap up the book with a soft, I don't know if I would say a soft metaphor, right, which is of the shadow, how I came up with the title Shadow Mothers. Psychologically, the shadow is everything that's within your consciousness, everything that's within your character that you shun, that you repress, that you would wish to ignore or disassociate yourself from. But the stronger you disassociate yourself or deny these attributes within yourself, the stronger they become, the more intense they become, and the more insistent they become on expressing themselves. But when they do express themselves after being repressed, they do so in a really antisocial way. And so I think that the more we can understand what, the root of shadow work is, right? Real shadow work, when you go to a psychotherapist and they do shadow work with you, they're going to really help you not to They're going to help you to shine the light of your full awareness onto your shadow. And it's when you can shine the light of your consciousness and your awareness onto the shadow that you can then start to make use of the capabilities that are also embedded in your shadow consciousness. And I think that because of that metaphor, this book, The Shadow Mothers, is going to set the stage for us to start having a whole different set of conversations around what Awon Iyami Osoronga is, what the true potential of Awon Iyami Osoronga can be, and what we're really going to have to do to be able to appreciate and approach Awon Iyami Osoronga from a realistic and spiritually mature perspective. So the book is going to launch any minute now, and you can actually get a preview of it, though. I'm going to launch the book in a couple of weeks, and you can get a preview by clicking the link in the description section of this video, and I'll also send you a discount code so that you can pre-order the book at a reduced rate. So either way, I hope that you have the chance to check it out, and I look forward to your feedback as we do continue this very important conversation. So until then, many blessings to you, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye for now. Odabo.